We want to get a closer look now inside the mind of Cavalcante. We now know how he escaped after that video was released today showing him scaling the wall. And we know he is a convicted killer from Brazil, serving a life sentence here in connection with a brutal crime. He's also wanted for a murder in Brazil. Joining us live now is Dr. Raymond Carr, director of the Criminal Justice Institute at Wilmington University.
Dr. Carr, thanks for joining us. You are a retired special agent with the FBI. You are an expert profiler of violent criminals, just like Danelo Cavalcante. Now that you've seen the video of the escape where he scales up that brick wall and is out of the video shot, what does that tell you about him? Did he have help on the inside or the outside? What do you think?
Well, first, thank you for having me tonight. In looking at that, that's not the first time he's tried something like that. He's practiced that. He's done some dry runs before he actually did this. He just didn't wake up one morning and say, this morning I'm going to escape. He actually thought this through, and he probably did have some help, even if it was somebody that provided a diversion. But those things will come out when the Attorney General's Office and the State Police conduct their investigation inside the prison with the inmates.
Before this video came out today, did you think that Cavalcante had not planned his escape?
Oh, no. I knew he had planned his escape. This isn't my first rodeo with somebody like this. I was involved in the Norman Johnson escape from central Pennsylvania. I was also involved in the Eric Frayne situation where he was responsible for shooting two troopers up in Pike County. And it took us 48 days to locate him up in the Pocono area.
Okay, so we know Cavalcante has a history of violence here. How does that impact the search? Because it's been going on for a long time.
Well, it's been going on for 7 days. In the realm of this, that's really not a long time. That's really a short period of time. And I know people become frustrated because this hasn't been resolved yet. But you got to give law enforcement the opportunity to do their job, and they're doing a great job with this. And you're going to get a lot of things, but the biggest thing is it's going to be somebody that's going to see something or say something that's going to lead to his downfall. The one thing I will say is people need to be aware that he is probably armed and dangerous. I don't know if he has a weapon, but I'll bet he has a sharp object, having probably broken into a home or two, or maybe a shed in his, as he's been kind of moving around from place to place.
We have a few seconds left here. I just wanted to ask you, as an expert profiler of violent criminals, you have to get into the mind of somebody like Cavalcante. So what is going through his mind, you think, right now?
He's scared. He's scared. I mean, he doesn't know. He has no idea where he's at. He's not in Brazil. He has no idea where to go. If he's moving, he's going to move at night. He's not going to move during the day. He's hunkering down during the day, and he's making all his moves. And if you notice, all the surveillance video of him have all been night shots of him and not anything during the day.
All right, Dr. Raymond Carr, director of the Criminal Justice Institute at Wilmington University. We appreciate your insight on this manhunt.
All right, we have a special guest with us here, knows all about this type of thing. Dr. Raymond Carr, the director of the Criminal Justice Institute at Wilmington University. Thank you for coming in. Let's go right to the surveillance tape. Apparently, somebody escaped last May, kind of in the same manner. Let's cap that area of the prison.
It's kind of a trial and error. I mean, he's using the other guy's shortcomings to affect his escape. So what he's doing, and you can tell someone is doing what he's doing, it's not the first time he's tried something like that.
Yeah.
And he's planned this thing. He's planned it pretty well. So he actually probably did some dry runs here, going up and looking and saying, you know, and just checking out and seeing when it's clear. And he may have used some of the inmates as a diversionary point as well.
Could be.
Because I think last one, wasn't there a fight or something that happened and that distracted the guards
Correct.
and people, so therefore they were able to escape.
All right, so who is this guy anyway? I know that he killed somebody in Brazil. Is that how this started?
Well, he's a two-time murderer. I mean, he killed somebody in Brazil. He travels to Puerto Rico. He gets from Puerto Rico, he gets here to the Delaware Valley. He meets a young woman that has 2 children. She finds out about the Brazil homicide. She's going to tell law enforcement, and he says, no, you're not going to let that happen. And he winds up stabbing her in front of her children.
And
he's
wasn't it
caught.
more than 30 times?
Yes, it was. Which is in my world, that's overkill. I mean, you don't need to stab someone 30 times to kill them. I mean, so there's a lot of anger on this
so he
individual.
was tried, ended up in this prison.
Correct.
But wasn't he?
And escaped.
Yes, because some people were wondering if he was, sentenced to life without parole, then why was he in this type of prison? Why wasn't he in something more maximum security?
Well, usually that's a holding point, the county prison, and then once he's sentenced, he's going to be transferred to a state facility, and he was probably awaiting transfer to that state facility.
And that's exactly what it was. All right, so where is he? I mean, you've written books. Tell me about the book you wrote, 30 Years on the Run.
30 Years on the Run is about a bank robber that robbed banks for 30 years before he was caught, and he had bunkers throughout the East Coast. He was someone that you would think would be your next door neighbor, but yet he was someone that was robbing banks. That was his full-time job.
But he's still alive. He lives in our area.
He lives
right?
in the Delco area.
He's probably watching the show, right? Probably looking at you.
He might be. Yeah.
Well, the interesting thing, too, about Cavalcante, it sounds like he's been going along the creek. Or a lot of folks have, I think the last sighting, someone said they saw on a property and looked like he was coming out of the creek and then going more into the woods.
Well, he's using the creek. Water usually flows to an open area. So he's used, from a survivalist standpoint, he's usually trying to follow that water. But the police have this place locked down. So it's really, the police are doing a fabulous job. And people don't realize how well they are oiled as a machine. The state police, the local police, the federal authorities, they're doing a heck of a job with this.
Well, some people say they're frustrated that he hasn't been
so
found.
long.
But this is a big open area.
Look, Norman Johnson, who I was involved in,
1999.
took us 19 days. Eric Freen, who killed 2 troopers up in Pike County, I was involved in that. It took us 48 days.
So this is a live look now, and we've been hearing more from residents about what this has been like. One resident described, as you just saw there, where they're checking cars, spoke to the Inquirer and said on a stretch of roadway they were stopped 4 times and asked to check their trunk and check out. Is that,
Just
and
in
that's
case he's in
just
there.
in case. And is that why they're telling people too? Make sure you're checking, your
Absolutely.
cars and locking
Absolutely.
them.
Well, the thing is that you have to remember this guy is armed and dangerous. He may not have a gun, but he probably has a sharp object, a knife or something else that's sharp, that he may have obtained in some of the break-ins he's done or some of the sheds he's broken into. So you really have to approach this guy with caution, and law enforcement is doing just that.
How's he going to get caught, do you think?
The last time we were involved in this, in 2014, just before I left the FBI, he was caught during the day in an open airfield, and he happened to just be spotted crossing. That's why most of the time you're going to see him making his moves at night and hunkering down during the day. Because
which cases are you talking about?
Eric Frayne.
Oh, that's right.
Eric Frayne was an individual that was responsible for shooting 2 troopers up in Pike County and then hid in the Poconos.
At the barracks.
And hiding in the Poconos is just amazing when he's hiding in the Poconos, because there's so many houses that are empty because they're vacation homes.
That's right. Yeah. So he was caught just walking in a field.
He just was walking across the field. There was a U.S. Marshal that spotted him, and he saw him, he saw them, and that was the end of it.
Yeah.
48 days that took. It took a long time.
Yeah.
If this goes on and on, we'll have you back.
Well, outstanding. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Great
having
job.
me. Yep.
7:15 out here, Sue.